We have a serious sexual assault problem in the United States. One of the reasons why? Toxic masculinity.
3 seconds in and I already hate you. I agree that we do have an issue with sexual assault, but it has to be next level mongoloid to actually blame it on masculinity.
Now let's be clear. Masculinity is not inherently a bad thing.
Okay, then why are you calling it toxic?
What's bad is when society tells us that being a man means things like strength and power at the expense of being allowed to really feel things.
I mean, I genuinely agree that society doesn't really encourage men to express their emotions, but how does that feed rape culture? Rape culture.
Imagine your favorite male protagonist. Is he cold and aloof, hardened, brooding? Does he scowl, make dark jokes in the face of danger? Well, this is our cultural ideal of manhood.
No, that's our cultural ideal for a superhero, not your average man. That's the point.
It gets worse when anything that society deems feminine, like having feelings, gets pegged as a threat to manhood.
It's just crazy watching this because this guy clearly has worse gender issues than I do, and I'm a fucking tranny. Tragic.
The worst thing a manly man can do is act like a woman. Side note, this is also why toxic masculinity is super homophobic.
Okay, so what? Are you implying that all gay men are feminine and act like women? That really is not the case. I'm pretty sure how masculine or feminine you are doesn't really dictate what kind of hole you want to penetrate. Or even if you want to be penetrated. We all know male feminists like to be pegged.
Power is measured in sexual conquest, dehumanizing women in the process.
I'm not going to speak for men, but I'm pretty sure power is not measured in sexual conquest for normal people. In fact, that's just it. Power is what rapists and molesters are seeking when they victimize someone, but men are not inherently rapists and molesters because they're masculine. And sex is not inherently dehumanizing, although that can be fun.
We're so caught up in these toxic ideas that a woman granting her affirmative consent to sex, well, that too often becomes secondary to our needs.
Secondary to whose needs? Yours? I'm dangerously close to just saying you're projecting, because most men actually do care about consent, especially in the current climate when the definition of rape is constantly being expanded by feminists.
Too many men learn in college to view women as things to be aggressively obtained, to be conquered, to be used for our enjoyment and pleasure.
Again, you're conflating rapists with the general population of men. Is there no line to you? Is this your job? Does MTV pay you to hate yourself, or...
That's just part of what we know as rape culture. All the ideas and beliefs that make people think sexual violence is acceptable.
Who, a psychopath? If you're not a psychopath, you don't think sexual violence is acceptable.
Rape culture includes the misogynist images we're fed in popular culture.
If it's misogynistic to want to be spanked once in a while,
where male violence is depicted as sexually alluring and something that enhances the protagonist's manhood.
I wonder if that goes both ways.
Wives with knives. Snapped. Deadly women.
Toxic masculinity, when you think about it, is very selfish. A lot of that is about entitlement. We're entitled to a voice, entitled to a job.
Wait, so men are the ones that feel entitled to employment when women literally have affirmative action laws behind them? How are you so comfortable just spouting all this bullshit?
Entitled to sex. All these things we're told we deserve because we're guys. Some of us don't react well when we're challenged. Women disagreeing with us or telling us no, for example. In those moments, we react how we've learned to. With aggression, with harassment, with violence.
So again, I can only assume that you're talking about yourself, and if you, sir, are punching people or reacting with aggression or harassment who disagree with you, that's your problem. Stop putting it on men.
Anger, violence, and entitlement are not admirable qualities.
It's also not too admirable for you to shit on your own gender so feminists can pat you on the head.
And coming to grips with that is the first step in understanding that ending sexual assault is our problem to solve too.
You know, it's so incredibly lazy to blame a huge problem like rape on something like masculinity. It's like you're not even searching for a real solution. I mean, look at the number of the violent crimes committed against children by their parents. It's overwhelmingly perpetrated by the mother. So I could just as easily say, oh, look at the toxic femininity. But it doesn't work like that. That's called intellectual laziness.
Listen to survivors and believe them when they speak up.
Listen and believe. Okay. You raped me. Now what? Everyone has to believe me, right? People who say they've been raped should absolutely be heard and listened to. And they absolutely have the right to pursue justice. They don't have the right to be inherently believed. Your argument is dangerously close to just saying that men don't deserve a trial if they're accused of rape. You're also getting dangerously close to me wanting to hit you in the face. Is that like toxic masculinity or toxic femininity?
I'm Jamil Smith, and this is The Racket.
I am done with that video. But I will say, I think that the toxic masculinity argument that feminists make is probably the one that gets under my skin the most. There's nothing evil or toxic about being a man. The fact that there's a generation of boys being raised by parents who hold this stupid ideology, teaching them that their masculinity is toxic, is actually very toxic itself. What is toxic is using the word rapist and male interchangeably. That's all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys next time.